I got to move this back up again. Hello, hello. Guess what time it is? Did that 22 minutes go by really fast? It is 10:30, and we want to keep things rolling. Hopefully you had a chance to find the hidden restrooms, which are down the hall, and grab some refreshments. We are ready to start our next session. Who completed their word find? Anybody? Yay! All right, way to go. So there are 10 words, and they're hidden in here. This is actually my key, so hopefully you can't read it from there. And there's a prize at the end of the day. Just drop it off at the GSI booth, and we'll do a drawing. Our next introducer is Nathan Martin. Are you ready to come up here? Awesome. Thank you, Nathan, and thank you all for being in your seats, and thanks, volunteers. Nathan.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everybody. For those of you that I have not met, my name is Nathan Martin. I'm a prosecutor at the Tarrant County District Attorney's Office. I see a lot of familiar faces. Really happy. If this feels like a small group, I think that's a good thing. If this feels like a medium-sized group, I think that's probably an accurate description. So if you feel like you're part of something that's getting started as a grassroots initiative, welcome. Welcome to the team. Feel proud about that you're here in the early phases. One thing that I'd like to do is thank our platinum sponsor for helping us create this fantastic summit, this energy. And Ada Mitchell of Mitchell Senior Solutions Agency. Is Ada here? No? Okay. So we definitely want to just give recognition to Mitchell Senior Solutions Agency. Happy to have their sponsorship. Now, I will next introduce our next speaker. He is a detective with the Colleyville Police Department. I know that many of you will know him by name. This is Detective Jeff Prater, seated here to my right at the table in the black jacket. I'm going to tell you what it says here, and then I'm going to tell you a few other things. But the current landscape of financial exploitation is where we're going to get a lot of knowledge from Detective Prater. He's got more than 23 years, is that right, Jeff, of law enforcement experience. When did you do the academy?
Started in 1999.
1999, and here we are today. Thank you very much for all the work that you continue to do. He's a member of the Secret Service Cyber Crimes Task Force. He's on the front lines of fighting fraud. And when I tell you the front lines, I mean he is in the trenches every day. He's the kind of detective that a prosecutor can call and learn something from. He's the kind of detective that another detective can call and meet with and learn something. He will help on cases that are in the city of Colleyville. He will help on cases that are not in the city of Colleyville. He will help Colleyville police officers. He will help anyone and everyone that comes to him. When you think about trying to level the playing field against the bad guys, it's really nice to have a guy like Detective Prater on the right side of the law. And I say that with all sincerity. So let me please welcome Detective Prater with our next presentation, which I know you'll all be happy to hear this information. Thank you, Detective Jeff Prater.
Well, good morning to everybody here. Like Nathan said, I've been in law enforcement for quite a while. I actually stumbled and somehow or another got into financial exploitation. It was a 100% accident. I did most of my career in narcotics and working undercover. That's where I really enjoyed my job, and somehow or another stumbled and started learning about financial exploitation and fraud, and quickly fell in love with it. If you'd have told me 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I'd have been a financial crimes guy, I probably would have punched you in the mouth. That's like, I hate numbers. I'm the guy who couldn't balance his checkbook. Okay, I hate numbers. And now I've learned that it's all about the numbers. The numbers do not lie to you. The numbers are the truth. I'm going to do things a little bit different than I normally do. I did something similar to this for the state of Missouri. I went up and spoke to them. So since I have to stand up, I'm going to make you guys stand up too. So get ready. We have a whole room full of different people in different types of careers. Some of you I know, some of you I've worked with, some of you I don't know and I haven't worked with. So what I want to do is, all of my law enforcement, please stand up. Excellent, excellent. So I recognize I've got some state, I've got some federal, I got some local. Go ahead and take a seat for me. Where are my prosecutors? Prosecutors. There we go. Excellent. There's my prosecutors. Where are my workhorses? Where's my adult protective services? Where are you at? I know you're here. There we go. These are your workhorses. These people work their rear end off and do not get credit for it. Now, here's the most important people that you guys need to meet. Where are my bankers? Where are my financial people? Where are my savings and loans? You remain standing for just a moment. Law enforcement, prosecutors, adult protective services. These right here are your first line of defense on elder exploitation. They see it before anybody else sees it. Get to know them. Go meet them, shake their hand, give them your business card. I promise you, they will tell you about their customers being victimized. Learn from them. Make a good contact. Thank you so much. So being that I'm on the Secret Service Task Force, we get a lot of learning opportunities. I do get to travel quite a bit. No, I don't get to get on Air Force One. I don't even get to get close to the darn thing. But I did see it land once. That was kind of cool. But we do get to meet a lot and work with a lot of state prosecutors and U.S. attorneys all throughout the nation on working cases, which is actually an excellent learning opportunity. So I'm going to throw a question out there. There are a few of you that cannot play this game, mainly this table right here, because you guys know the answer. Who can tell me what the Secret Service was originally founded for? What was the secret? You got to raise your hand so I can see you. What was the Secret Service originally? What was their mission goal? Oh, come on. There's got to be somebody who knows. Yes, sir. There we go. Counterfeit money. I'm going to give you a U.S. Secret Service Dallas Field Office challenge. So yes, the Secret Service was all about money. Think about it. Every single crime that happens in the United States, except for 2 crimes, involve what? Money. Okay? It's all about the money. The only 2 crimes that don't involve money is crimes of passion and crimes of alcohol. Okay? DWIs, public intoxication, assault, family violence. That doesn't revolve around money, but everything else follows the money, whether it's a car burglary, whether it's fraud, fake checks, whether it's someone breaking into a house, breaking into a business. It's all about the money. Learn to follow the money and you find the bad guy. Okay? The hardest thing was for me to learn about financial exploitation and how to investigate this is that law enforcement has been doing it wrong for years. We have been so focused, and we were taught this at the academy, is to find the bad guy, put him in jail. That's what you're supposed to do. Find the bad guy, put him in jail. You're guys who investigate burglaries, assault, family violences, property crimes. That's their focus. Find bad guy, arrest bad guy. But if you're going to be good and successful in financial exploitation, you can't have that mindset because you're going to have the lowest clearance rates in your department. Your clearances are lower than anybody else's. Why? Because our bad guy, where is he? He's in a third world country. Okay? We have no jurisdiction to go to Nigeria and arrest him. We have no jurisdiction to go to India and arrest him. We can't. So you have to change the way that you think. You have to remember that you need to do, number one thing is stop the bleeding. Stop the loss. Stop your victim from being victimized. That's number one. Okay? Number two is recover whatever you can for your victim. Stop the bleeding, recover whatever I can recover. My victim loses $80,000 and I recover $5,000. That's almost an unheard of win for us. That is a massive win. Okay? Number three is find the bad guy and put him in jail. Okay? That's just not my top priority. Stop the bleeding, recover what I can. So we're going to talk about some of the different types of problems we run into in law enforcement, what were common fraud scams that we're seeing, and why it's so difficult for law enforcement to investigate these crimes. I'm not really going to go over this one too much because we all pretty much know exactly what elder fraud is, but there is the definition of elder fraud for us. This is some recent graphs coming from the Federal Trade Commission. You can see here in 2020 all the way up to 2024 how fraud has just skyrocketed. Okay, it all really took off during COVID, and it just continued to go up and up and up. Okay, we're at $12.5 billion. $12.5 billion. This is the number one crime in America. There's more fraud than any other crime there is. So, for any type of a fraud scam to work, it has to have these things for it to work. Now, some of the cases, it only needs one. But most of the time, it needs at least two of these. So the number one thing is the sense of urgency, okay? Why? The victim has to hurry up and do this. They have to hurry up and get this money off. Or why? They're going to be arrested. Or their computer and all their data is going to be stolen. So they're going to lose all the photos of their grandchildren. Okay? So we just covered two of them, the sense of urgency and the fear and intimidation. Okay? They don't want that. The last one is your lure of easy money. Now, that's your investment scams. That's your lottery scams, your inheritance scams that we've all heard about. So any of these scams is going to fall underneath this. This bad guy has to make this happen in order for it to work. The number one is that sense of urgency. You're going to see this, especially our bankers are going to see this when an elderly person goes into the bank and they're on the telephone and they're making a large cash withdrawal that is not normal for this person. Okay? Okay, guys, when an elderly person goes to a bank or goes to anywhere, they're not going to talk on the phone. They want to talk to somebody. Okay? And they were also raised where that's rude. Okay? That's rude to be on the phone. So these are all telltale indicators that something isn't right. Well, the bad guy wants to keep them on the phone so they don't get an opportunity to start thinking and processing what's going on. They don't give them that chance. So as we move on, what do the scammers have to do? Okay, well, number one, they've got to gain the trust of the victim. Now, when I say gain the trust of the victim, what I'm talking about is they have to convince that victim that they can help them. Okay, sir, here's the most common one we see. You have an arrest, you have a warrant for your arrest because you didn't show up for court. You were supposed to be jury summons and you didn't show up. But I can help you. All you need to do is pay this fine. So there's your gaining of trust. The scammer can help them out. It also works for your technology types of scams where you receive the pop-ups that you get on your phone or your computer. Oh, you have a possible virus. Or how about my favorite one? You have unpaid traffic tolls. Okay, I mean, every single person in the room has gotten that text message. That's all of our scammers. Okay, they're trying to convince them. They also, bad guy, most of the scams, they have to have access to your device. Okay, your cell phone, your laptop, your tablet. They need access to that. Here's that sense of urgency. You need to hurry up and get this taken care of, or you're going to get into trouble. Here's the fear of losing information, the fear of losing freedom. Remember, our seniors grew up in a different world than we grew up in, okay? Because who were their parents? Their parents were the World War II generation, okay? The greatest generation this country's ever going to have. And wow, now look at what we've become, okay? They were raised, you go to jail, it's bad. Okay, as with the kids now, they don't care they go to jail. No big deal. I'm going to get out. No big deal. I'm going to get released. But so they don't want, they're afraid of jail. They're terrified of it. As for the younger generation, they're not quite so afraid of it anymore because they keep going back to it all the time. And they love to use technical jargon. Okay, they'll say a lot of big fancy words. Oh, well, the blockchain, and there's this, and the BTC, and the Ether, and they're like, and older people don't know what they're talking about. So it confuses them. So these are all the things that we have to start focusing on what the bad guy has to do to be successful. Now, here are the most common types of scams that we kind of broke them down into 6 different categories. Some of them we do get some crossover. But you have your computer or technology-related scams. That's the #1 scam in the nation. It's also the lowest dollar amount, okay, for as how much a victim is going to lose. But they're also focused on doing 100,000 at one time. Okay, so it turns into a big profit maker for them. Then you have your romance scams. Okay, we all know about those and how horrible those can be. You have your investment scams, which if you don't know anything about pig butchering, you're fixing to learn about it. Then you have your grandpa and your arrest warrant scams. We're seeing a lot of AI technology being used in this type of scam right now. A lot of AI is being used. Your impersonation scams, boy, this one is a big one. We're seeing a lot of large losses with impersonation scams. And then the one that is the absolute worst of them all, in my personal opinion, is the family and caregiver scam. Now, we do not see a lot of this, but it is out there. Okay, there's always bad apples. No matter where you are, there's always a bad apple. And I've been successful on prosecuting some of those cases, and we got some really good stories on when I sit there and testify. Well, Your Honor, he said, and I quote, "I don't see what the problem is. It's going to be mine anyways." Yeah, bad guys will say that. So your technology and your computer scams, that's going to be your basic scams that we see, that pop-ups, your emails, your text messages that you may get on your phone, saying you have unpaid traffic tickets, you got to pay tolls, Norton antivirus, your Apple account. Here's you paid this invoice, but wait a second, I didn't really pay this invoice. So it confuses our elderlies, and it even confuses the young people too. But what do? There's always a telephone number. They call that telephone number. I teach in my fraud prevention classes, the worst thing that you can do is Google the telephone number for Apple technical support, because you are not getting Apple at all. Google makes money by advertising, okay? So bad guys will pay to have their number listed at the top of the screen as the first one, the second one, the third one, when all reality, the real telephone number for Apple is about number 9 or 10 down the line. Or you can simply go to the Apple store. You know you're talking to Apple now. So people, and they'll call, and the scammers will then, sense of urgency. You have a virus. We need to take care of that. I need to remote into your computer in order to fix this. Apple will never remote into your computer. They will never do that. But the scammers need to do that, because now once they remote it into your computer, they have access to everything. And from there, they can just take over. They can take over your accounts. They can open accounts. They can take all of your banking information. They can just drain your money out of your account, and there's nothing that the victim can do because it's gone within moments. This one right here was a really fun case. We prosecuted this one in Tarrant County. This was a scammer case. In the photo you see right there, that's $681,000 worth of gift cards that we recovered. This was a $26 million case of scammers laundering money to China. China is our #1 problem, okay? They are stealing America blind. This was a fun case here. We worked this case for probably a little over a year working this case. It was a good case, a fun case, but yeah, you're looking at gift cards. The victims were scammed into going to the store and buying gift cards. Okay? Well, they would go to the store, they would buy a Walmart gift card or a Target gift card. Then the scammers had mules inside the United States that would then receive a digital image of that card. They would then go redeem that gift card for another gift card. That's money laundering 101. Okay? I mean, that's basic money laundering. Then what we ended up finding out is that they were buying mainly gaming cards and Apple product cards. Anybody have any idea what an Apple iPhone sells for? Okay, iPhone 16, what are they, like $1,400? Something ridiculously? Yeah, $1,200. This exact same phone in China, where it's made, is $2,500. Why is that? Because this is the American iPhone. It is not locked and it does not block anything. As where the Chinese phone only lets them get what the Chinese government says they're allowed to have. So there is an underground market for anything Apple. Okay? Same thing goes with Apple gift cards. An Apple gift card that sells for $100 in the United States sells for $150 in China all day long. Gaming cards, same way. Why? Because China passed a law banning online gaming to only 3 hours per week. If any of you have teenage children, they start going into convulsions if they haven't played for 12. Okay? So just imagine, you have a $100 gaming card, it does the same thing. It overrides the Chinese block and allows them to play until the card runs out of money. So a $100 card sells for $150. Normal money launderers lose, the bad guy loses somewhere in the area of 30 to 35%. Not here, they're making more money. They're not losing a dime, they're making even more money on this. But this was a real common scam. This was a good pop that we did. I took this off of my phone. This was this is a tap and pay and technology type scams. There's the message that, hey, your Apple account transaction has occurred, which it really hasn't, but the scammers are trying to get you to fall for it. You got to call this telephone number. Here's your other one right here for the Department of Motor Vehicles. Guys, this is an easy one. Look at the telephone number from the Department of Motor Vehicles, +63 909. +63. What country code is that? Okay, that's Canada. Why is Canada telling me I need to renew my motor vehicle registration? I mean, that's a clue, okay? But remember, a lot of our seniors fall for this because they don't know. Talk a little bit about tap and pay, which that's what these two scams are coming from, is tap and pay. You see that right there in the black, you see that message right there, the toll road notice. Victim fell for that, clicked on that. 7 days later, their card had been compromised, and there's two suspects at a box store loading up with stuff. Those two suspects were Chinese nationals. Okay, we were able to track that one down. They're doing tap and pay. Tap and pay, if you have big box stores in your community, they're the ones who are being affected by it. Home Depot is really getting hit hard. Sam's Club's getting hit pretty hard. Target's getting hit pretty hard with tap and pay scams. But they all fall from frauds. And the majority of the victims are seniors that we're learning. Romance scams. This one breaks your heart. I get probably at least one of these a week. My most recent two that I have this week that came through is a gentleman who was born in 1955, and he is madly in love with a woman who was born in 1996. Okay? She is old enough to be his grandchild. Okay? He has sent her $17,000 and has got nothing in return for it. We see a massive amount of this. If anybody recognizes this young lady right over here, do not raise your hand, okay? Her name is Danny Daniels. Danny Daniels is one of the top leading porn stars in the industry, okay? She is one of the favorite photos that scammers love to use. Why? Because she doesn't look like a normal porn star. Okay, she's not loaded up with tattoos. Okay, she has that girl next door look, that girl next door appeal to her. So scammers love to use her photograph in romance scams. You click on her page. I've actually talked to her on the phone. You click on her actual social media, and she has videos telling people, do not send money to me. I am not in love with you. I am married. You are being scammed. I mean, she's tired of it. It's that bad. So these are some of the top people that we commonly see. There's Danny Daniels right there. That's that girl next door, not loaded up with tattoos, doesn't look like an adult film star. I have found over 600 fake social media profiles with her photograph, but an entirely different name on it. Entirely different name. This gentleman right here, I've spoken to him on the phone. He is a real estate salesperson. He is also a part-time / model. He does mainly some magazine shoots and stuff like that. He's been married to his wife for over 35 years. His photo is heavily used also. Over 400 I found on him. And this is the most recent one that I have found, and I actually have a case on this one this week, and I'm finishing up with it. But this gentleman is actually a pastor. He's a minister in Colorado, and he's also an author. So what does that mean? His photo is out there a lot, okay? So they're looking for people whose photos are out there, but they're not necessarily extremely famous, so someone could quickly identify who they are, but they're also attractive. They're also handsome. They're clean cut, okay? You think of it in those particular aspects. Whenever you're interviewing your victims of a romance scam, I promise you, your victim has a photograph of the person who they are in love with. Now, that photograph is going to be doctored, okay? It's going to be photoshopped like you can't even imagine. Anybody familiar with the oil industry, roughnecks? Okay? Y'all, there ain't a single roughneck out there that has anything less than 50 tattoos. Okay? They are rough, hence the name roughneck. Okay? This gentleman right here, my victim, the scammers told her that he worked on an oil rig out in the Persian Gulf and was making $7 million a year working for ExxonMobil. Sends over a fake-looking contract. That's the cleanest looking roughneck I ever have seen. Okay, even the photograph that my victim had, he's in his oil rig clothes and they're clean. There's no such thing as clean oil work, okay? It's dirty. I'm just going, no, ma'am, this is a scam. So I had to prove to her that it wasn't because she refused to believe me. One of the best things I found is my department has Clearview AI, which is a facial recognition software. I plugged in his photo and here it came. Over 400 images of him. And different names. Then I found who he really was. That's a very good tool. We use it all the time, and I use the tool for other agencies. If they send me a photo, I will run it through Clearview for them to help them identify, help them convince their victim that they are a victim. There you go. There's some of the images right there. Those are 3 people, and those are all fake social media accounts using their images. And that's just a sample. But if you want to convince your victim that they're being victimized, this is how you do it on romance scams. Investment scams, get-rich scams. I know my adult protective services and my bankers have seen lots of these. You have your Publishers Clearinghouse. I have an elderly gentleman who lives in Grapevine. He keeps coming to Colleyville and goes to our Walgreens and tries to buy 5 $500 Visa gift cards. And Walgreens will not sell to him anymore. They're like, no, we're not selling you any more gift cards. You're being scammed. And then they call me, and I go running over there, and like, I won the Publishers Clearinghouse. No, sir, you didn't win the Publishers Clearinghouse. The Publishers Clearinghouse is not going to tell you you won. They're going to show up with balloons and a big sign and cameras. That's how you know you won. There's no surprise if you know you won. But it's literally probably about every 90 days he comes into Colleyville and he's trying to buy gift cards, and the stores just refuse. They will not sell to him. Yes, ma'am.
Publishers Clearinghouse recently filed for bankruptcy, in case you didn't know.
Yep, and the scammers are still doing it. Even though they filed for bankruptcy, they're still doing it. You have your secret shopper scams, very, very common for elderly and a lot of college age. We see a lot of them falling for it, where they're sent a cashier's check that's a fake cashier's check, and they're told to take that check, go to a store, buy certain items, and usually it's gift cards. Just fill out a little survey, how great the how great the store was, and then give the scammer the gift cards, and then 2 to 3 days later, the check comes back as being fake. So now the victim has lost that money because it comes out of their bank account now. We see quite a bit of that with seniors and with college students because it's an easy work schedule. They can work the hours that they want to work to make a little bit of extra money. Pig butchering. As anybody knows what pig butchering is? I got a few people that know what a pig butchering case is. Pig butchering is exactly what it sounds like. If you grew up in the country, we would do what? We would feed or lead a hog to slaughter. We fatten a pig, okay? And then we slaughter them. That's exactly what this scam is. They find a victim, they entice the victim into investing, usually it's cryptocurrency, and a small investment, maybe a $5,000 or $10,000 investment, and then the victim within literally 72 hours, that $5,000 investment, they've now made $20,000. And the scammer tells them, hey, I got another deal coming down the pike. It's a $50,000 buy-in. You've already got $20,000 in. All you got to do is put another 30 in. And this is a guaranteed win. And this goes on, and it goes on, and it goes on. And it'll go on usually for about 3 or 4 months. Okay? And then when the victim's like, man, I'm sitting on a great portfolio, because they create fake websites, and I'm going to cash out. Oh, you can't cash out yet. You got to pay your taxes on it. One more little poke the bad guy's going to get. And then next thing you know, I know I've got several victims who've lost over $1 million. $1 million coming out of their bank account. Not what they supposedly made. This is actual hard money loss. Pig butchering cases are brutal, and they are almost impossible for us to work because we have a time lapse, and it's a big time lapse. We can trace it doing crypto tracing sometimes, but most of the time, on every one of these I've worked, it's all gone overseas, and most of it's gone to China. You have your inheritance scams, because we all have that long-lost family member who's a prince in some foreign country who left us gazillions of dollars, and all I have to do is send a ambassador or someone from the State Department. I need to send them some money so I can get my money, this treasure chest full of gold, and sent over to us. Y'all laugh all you want to. I have a victim that, yeah, it's happening right now to her. She refuses to believe it, and ma'am, we have no ambassador by that name. Okay, so this name that you told us is a biblical name, which is another common scam. We'll see a lot of our scammers will use biblical names. Lottery, can't win it if you don't buy a ticket. That's the easiest way I can explain that one to you. We've all had those victims who supposedly won the Minnesota State Lottery or the Michigan State Lottery, but they never bought a ticket. So how did you win it if you didn't buy a ticket? But guys, remember, this is what they're thinking. I know we laugh about it because it's, how can this be? But this happens every single day. Every single day. We already talked about the Publishers Clearinghouse. This is a legitimate Publishers Clearinghouse winner. Look how happy and surprised she is. But yet if you paid all these taxes and fees before, you're not going to be so excited because you didn't realize the government really took about 40% of that you actually won. You'd be more sad. We talked about the secret shoppers. We don't see quite as much of this, but we're starting to see a little bit of a ramp up on it again. We usually start seeing this kicking off when our school starts up, when college starts back up, and we kind of see this one starting to ramp up a little bit. Pig butchering is a good example of that. Right now they're saying $75 billion has been lost to pig butchering. This is the big one. This is the biggest scam that we see where people are losing everything because they're thinking that quick, easy money that they've made. Your inheritance scams, this photo right here is actually from one of my victims. This was a Tarrant County case. This was the actual photograph that my victim received, that was her money that she was being inherited to. And I know y'all may not know money, but those who work for the Treasury Department or work for the Secret Service, holy crap, that's counterfeit big time. That is so fake. It's not even, it's obvious it's fake. But remember, they're playing on hope. They're playing on, oh my gosh. And so our victims don't pay attention to the little fine details. And why would someone have a $5 bill mixed in there? Okay, I mean, I got hundreds. I don't need no $5 bill in there. But this is actual real stuff that we actually do see. We talked about our lottery. Grandpa arrest warrant scams. This is where, boy, this new evil thing right here has rearing its ugly head. Say what you want to about cryptocurrency. It is here to stay. It is not going away. And if we do not learn how to investigate this, we are going to fall behind fast and quick. This year, I went down to Austin and testified at the Capitol, once in front of the Senate, once in front of the House, on trying to get some legislation put in place for crypto kiosks or crypto ATMs. I'm down there speaking, and I asked, they all asked me, well, I don't even know what a crypto ATM looks like. Crypto ATM. This is inside Walgreens, CVS Pharmacy, Kroger's, Albertsons, Target, Walmart. Every store has these. It's not the mom and pop gas stations anymore. It's everywhere. If you think I'm joking, I challenge you right now to take out your smartphone, go to the maps, and type in crypto ATM near me, and you are going to freak out how many of them are within a couple of miles of this location. Because I did it over there just a few minutes ago. Scott, what do you think? There's at least 20 of them? At least 20 of them within 2 miles of here. That's how bad they are. They are nothing but a pure money laundering device. Anybody play with crypto? Okay, I play with it. Why? Because I'm trying to learn it. I buy crypto on Coinbase and I pay 3.5%. These machines charge 22 to 28%. Why would anyone use this when I can use my smartphone? Right? So one of the things I did when I was in Austin, this is a crypto ATM and a regular ATM next to each other. And this is the one that really shocked the Capitol. Your blue dot, that is the capital of Texas. That is the state capitol. All those little red dots are crypto ATMs close to the Capitol. They had no idea they were that close. I did a presentation in the state of Missouri for the Missouri legislation on crypto, on elder fraud scams in general, how law enforcement needs to investigate them. I asked them, do you have any crypto ATMs? No, we don't have any anywhere in the state of Missouri. You don't have a single one in the state of Missouri, not a single one. Well, in my slideshow presentation, the next slide was a picture of a crypto ATM. We were inside the governor's building that's owned by the state, and there's a gift shop. Inside that gift shop was a crypto ATM. We were on the 3rd floor. The crypto ATM was on the 1st floor. They're here, and no one knows they're here. Arrest warrant scams, this is one you're going to see where either the victim has an arrest warrant and they're going to be arrested and taken to jail. We see this massively. This is a huge organization that's actually based out of Georgia, which is an ongoing case, so I'm not going to go too deep on that one. But we see a lot of this, and we also see what we call the grandpa scam. And that is where we're seeing a lot of AI technology starting to be used. And bad guys will get on our victims, learn about our victim. They do surveillance. They do counter surveillance. They learn about their victims. And they see that the victim has a social media. And then they see that, oh, victim has a 20-something, 25-year-old, maybe 30-year-old grandson. They see a short video of it, and all they need is about 5 to 10 seconds of grandson talking. And then they use AI technology, and then next thing you know, grandpa gets a telephone call, and scammer is saying what he wants to say, and it sounds like grandson. Papa, I got arrested. I'm in jail. Please don't tell mom and dad. I need help. I have my attorney right here. Can you talk to my attorney? And he hands the phone over, and it's a scammer. And the next thing you know, what is the most important thing to a senior? Their grandchildren. Okay? I have 2 grandchildren. I have a son, but I don't care about him. But I got 2 grandchildren, okay? Because that is the greatest thing in the entire world. I will do anything for my grandchildren. And my son has told me, you are not the same man that raised me. Yes, because I love them. These are my grandchildren. I had to tolerate you because your mama said so. But you did okay. But they will do anything for their grandchild. And that attorney who's claiming to be an attorney, there's a gag order in place. We can't talk about this. You can't tell anybody about what's going on. Okay, because they know, a gag order, it means I can't talk about it, but they don't realize, no, you can talk about it. We're not in trial, and that's not how the gag order works. Okay, they just got arrested. And then lo and behold, grandson gets arrested. Grandpa goes up, posts bond for him, and how does he send it? Cryptocurrency, or they'll do a wire transfer. And then sometimes, guess what? We take gift cards. No, the U.S. government and no law enforcement agency takes Apple gift cards. We take MasterCard, Visa, American Express. We do not take Apple. But that's the scam. The victim will fall for this. And then the bad guy will tell the victim, give you a few hours, we're going to get him out of jail. As soon as he's out of jail, we'll have him call you and let you know he's out, and we're going to get him on a plane back to you. Because where's grandson at? Nowhere where he's supposed to be. Okay? And a few hours goes by, the attorney calls the grandparent back, calls your victim back, says, I've got little Billy on a plane. He's going through the airport right now. He'll be landing at the airport soon. He'll call you. About a couple hours goes by, the attorney calls back and says, sir, little Billy was going through customs, or going through the checkpoint there at the airport, and they found an ounce of cocaine in his bag. He got arrested again. The same judge has this case, and that judge is pissed. That judge has set the bond at $50,000 now. You're going to need to get $50,000 so we can get him out of jail. And Grandpa falls for it. So now Grandpa's lost $20,000 or $30,000 the first time, and now lost $50,000. We're at $70,000. This happens all the time. I have successfully prosecuted, well, I didn't really prosecute them. The DA's office has successfully prosecuted these cases for me that I've worked in Tarrant County. They can be prosecuted. It just takes a lot of work for us as investigators to do. Impersonation scams. How many of y'all saw this one of Elon? He's going to give away 5,000 Bitcoin. Like, come on, man, that's all fake. Some of these AIs are really easy to tell on the impersonation scams. Some of them are not so easy to tell. Probably the biggest one that we see is the FTC being impersonated. FTC. Everybody has heard of the FTC, but nobody knows what they do. Okay, why? Because we just don't really know what they do. It's kind of like the Secret Service. What do? It's a secret, I can't tell you. Okay, we do secret stuff. It's a secret service. But they love to impersonate the FTC. They love to impersonate the FCC. Anything that has an abbreviation, because that sounds really cool. But they don't want to use the FBI because, well, they're the FBI. We'll go use somebody else. And I know my grandson wouldn't do drugs, so I can't do the DEA, but let's do FTC because no one knows what the FTC does. We see a lot of those. And a lot of those we are seeing right now going on are involving gold coins and cash pickups. Okay, where victim goes to the bank and withdraws a large amount of cash, goes and buys gold coins and gold bars, and then another person comes and sells them a top secret code word, the sky is blue, and that's the agent that's picking up the gold to hold on to them. We've had successful arrests in this also. Big one. IRS is another big one. We have our family caregiver. No doubt in my mind, this is the evil of all evils right there. Whenever you get someone who is taking care of a senior and they're exploiting that senior, I know Adult Protective Services have seen these. Thank God they're not as rampant. They are out there, but they're not rampant like the other types of fraud that we see. I know I have interviewed victims on this, and they had to pay $20 to get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. They had to pay someone to take them to the doctor's office. One of my victims had to go buy the caregiver a brand new Mercedes to take them to the doctor. And the Mercedes was not in their name. It was in the bad guy's name. But we see this. Big one on this one is for our bankers. All of a sudden your victim comes in and we're adding names to the account that we should never be adding this name to the account. Why does the caregiver, and the caregiver is always with them. But there are little indicators that we have to be able to key up on and identify that something is wrong. I've had this one where, yes, it's going to be mine anyways. I testified in federal court on that and said exactly what that quote, and the federal judge mouth fell open. I mean, whew, talk about a good indicator where my sentencing was going to go. I knew I had won at that point. But yes, they believe it's entitled. It's mine anyways. I don't see what the problem is. Well, there is a huge problem. Your adult protective services, you probably have seen this 100 times. You go out, you do your visit, and you have that god-awful ammonia smell coming from the house. Okay, like, oh my gosh, this person have cats? No, it's not cats, it's urine. That's what you're smelling. You're smelling your victim. Okay, it's out there. It's horrible. Bury these people under the jail, in my opinion. But it is out there. Here are some of the telltale signs that we see. Little to no interaction outside of the home. A strong odor of ammonia smell. Elderly victim using one or two rooms of the house, even though they have the entire house, they only use one or two rooms because the rest of the house is, I mean, just horrible. Just horrible. House is in desperate need of repair. New names being added to the account. This is a big, big indicator that we see. Unusual banking activity, law enforcement, adult protective service. This is where you need to know your bankers. This is our first line. Who see this before anybody else sees it? They see it. And then abnormal purchases online. Why did grandma, who's 86 years old, need an iPhone 16? And why does she need a brand new iPad? Okay, that's strange. Okay, especially for someone who doesn't really know how to use technology. That's extremely strange. Investigating these types of crimes, law enforcement, we face lots of different challenges that are very, very difficult for us to investigate. And some of these are ones where it's not really what you know, it's who you know that's going to help you. I have contacts with almost every single bank there is, and I'm able to call these banks, and a lot of them will tell me what I want over the phone. Hey, yes, Jeff, what you're looking for is here. Great, now I can follow it up with a court order, okay? I just need that little help to help me get there. And, yep, what you want's here. I've got several of the banks. I can simply call them on the phone, and they will freeze a bank account for me, just me telling them. Yeah, I'll freeze it. I'll have you a freeze letter in 10 minutes, and I'll freeze that bank account and shut that bank account down so bad guy can't take any more of my victim's money. Lack of reporting. We know that only about 35% of elder exploitation is reported. In my opinion, I really think it's probably worse than that. It probably is more like 20%. So that means we have this massive amount of elderly people being exploited and nothing is being reported about it. Now, why is that so? Well, number one, the elderly victim is afraid that they're going to lose control, okay? They're going to lose control of their bank account because their children are going to take it over. Well, yeah, they're not taking it over. They're just help protecting you, okay? They don't want to lose that freedom. They don't want to lose the freedom of being able to drive. So they're afraid, oh my gosh, if I tell someone I fell for this romance scam, it's going to be embarrassing. My family's not going to trust me. They're going to take away my money and everything that I've worked for. That's the mindset that they're in, y'all. And you have to put yourself in that mindset to understand them, okay? With this, yeah, but no, that's not what your children are going to do. My in-laws, what I have set up with them is that their bank account, anything over $1,000, I get a text message. I get a text message. I'm not stopping them, but I get a text message that tells me, hey, why is my mother-in-law, who is 76 years old, why did she just take $1,000 out of her bank account? This is unlike her, but this is something that you need to be aware of. Time lapse, we talked about it. Memory loss. Oh boy, that's a tough one for us, is that memory loss, because a lot of our victims, yeah, I'm a victim, but I don't remember what happened. I don't remember what they told me. So therefore, it makes it very hard for law enforcement to follow up with the investigation. It makes it very difficult for adult protective services to be able to send it to law enforcement because, well, I got a victim, but I don't know what they're a victim of. So if I don't have a victim, I really don't have a crime. So it makes it very difficult for us. Specialized technology, this is hard, especially with crypto being so popular right now. Our department got a grant where we have crypto tracing tools, and we use those. And in part of the grant that we were awarded is that I, in return, was receiving this grant for the city of Colleyville. I will run a crypto trace for any police department in North Texas. If they have a victim who's a victim of a crime and they put the money in crypto, I'll run a trace for them. Okay, I will provide them with, hey, here's where your victim's money came in, and here's where it went. It went to this wallet, went to this wallet, went to this wallet, and it went over here and exchange. It went to this exchange where it went out. I can give that investigator, he needs to go to Binance and send them a court order. Let's find out who owns this wallet, who had their victim's money in it. That tracing software, if you use Chainalysis, it's about $60,000 to $70,000. I got a grant. The system that we're using is about $15,000 a year. It's a good system. It works really good. I've compared it with Chainalysis. Chainalysis is a little bit nicer, but the system works too, and it's a lot less. But if you have one, you need it traced, you can contact me and I can trace it for you. Budgetary concerns, there's a money thing, that's always a problem. Jurisdictional boundaries, oh my gosh, jurisdictional boundaries are such a nightmare for us in law enforcement. Well, the victim lives here, but the bad guy lives here, so there's nothing that we can do. Which is possibly right, but real likely it's not. Unless they're overseas, then yeah, our hands are kind of tied. But I have more than once gone to another state and arrested a bad guy who stole a victim from an elderly person in my city. I have no problem putting handcuffs on them. No problem at all. And bringing their asses back here to be held accountable for what they've done. Training, another big one. We really don't train enough in financial exploitation. It's something that we need. We need more training on it. We need more staffing. And the complexity. These cases are complex. They are very difficult to investigate. You're working money trails. It's a lot of court orders, a lot of subpoenas. It's a lot of work. Money mules, boy, this is a great one right here because these money mules, they're receiving your victim's money and then they're moving it to someone else, but they don't know that they're receiving stolen money, so therefore by state law, we cannot prosecute them. Okay, they have to know they are receiving money from illegal activity. If they don't know that, then we can't prosecute them. And what the scammer will tell them is that the scammer will use this lovely lady right here because they fell in love on the internet. They've never met, but they're in love with each other. He's drained her of all the money she has, but he needs her to launder money for him. So then scammer now convinces this guy right here to send bad guy $20,000, but hey, I need you to send it to my friend over here because I'm in France on a contract job and I can't have a French bank account, but if you'll send it to my friend, she's going to send it to me in cryptocurrency. So you send the money to her, she just thinks she's helping her boyfriend out and has no idea that she's laundering money. Okay, so therefore we can't prosecute her. There's no knowingly and intentionally. There's no proof of the criminal that she is knowingly committing a crime. Now, once we serve her with a money mule notice and she continues to do it, she's free game. And yes, I have arrested money mules after they've been served. Notice, cut it out. I have arrested them for it. Some of our common indicators that we see is large amounts of withdrawals on the phone with the bank, on the phone while they're at the bank. Purchasing gift cards, that's unusual for grandma to go buy $2,500 worth of gift cards. Appear to be worried when they're at the bank. That's a big indicator right there. Acting secretly. I don't want anyone to know what I'm doing. This is a big one right here, using messaging apps, WhatsApp and WeChat. Why is grandma on WhatsApp? Okay, that's a serious problem, y'all. Okay, grandma should not be on WhatsApp. I shouldn't be on WhatsApp, much less grandma. Purchasing electronics, we talked about that. Opening up new bank accounts. Also, we'll see a lot of elderly people that will open up a business account. Okay, why? Because bad guy knows they can receive larger checks through a business account versus a personal account. It gives them a chance to steal more money. Wire transfers, large wire transfers, opening up lines of credit that they've never opened up before. These are all indicators. If one is not enough, but when you get 2 or 3 of them, now you're painting a picture. Think about you're painting a picture with color. Okay, I can draw it out in black and white, but when I start throwing color in there, now it makes sense to me, okay? Let's see. Let's see, I don't know if I can get this to play or not. Is there a way, my IT people, can you make this play for a quick second? This is a video. There we go. Okay, this is an impersonation scammer who has just stolen $185,000 from an elderly victim, and she was told to go buy gold. Okay, so this is the scammer. He has picked it up. We've learned that these guys have to send a video to their handlers back to let them know, I picked it up, here's everything that's in there. Yes, we did recover some of this gold and get it back to the victim. This guy, we arrested him in Burleson, Texas. This guy had gone to, in 18 days, traveled to 11 major cities across the United States, and in 18 days, this guy picked up $750,000. $750,000 in 18 days. So you can just see here, this is what he's doing. He's having to show the bad guy, look, I did what I was told to do. I picked it up. If my technical guys, if you could stop this one and play the one over here, the guy in the white shirt video for me. This guy picked up, I think it was $28,000 in cash from a victim down near Houston, and drove from Houston up here to the Dallas-Fort Worth area to get money from another victim, and we knocked him down. But he's doing the same thing. Got to open up the package, got to show the boss, and he's going to count all this cash out to prove that, look, I got it and I'm not stealing it from you. There's the wad. You can see right here we have Wells Fargo. There's a clue for me. There's the wad of money. All right, IT guys, you can stop that one, because I know I am running out of time. Here's some recent success stories that we've had. 20 years in prison, Tarrant County case, romance scammer, an investment scammer, life in prison, Tarrant County, caregiver scammer, 7 years in federal prisons, Northern District of Texas case. Here's another transnational money laundering case right here, Tarrant County. Romance fraud suspect, a $1 million bond, and the bond held. $1 million. You can go kill somebody and you get a $50,000 bond. You steal from an old person in Tarrant County, they're going to hang you. Okay? Hooray for Tarrant County. Grandpa scam, this was another one of mine. Bond was set at $250,000. Got sentenced to 2 years in prison, plus had to reimburse my victim of all their money. Okay, we are being successful in prosecuting these cases. Here are some more stuff here. These are recoveries that we were able to recover money for victims. Grandpa scam, $80,000, recovered it, got it back. $100,000 scam, get the money back to the victim. $10,000 recovered in a FedEx envelope, back to the victim. $40,000 recovery, back to my victim. There's my bad guy right there. Obi, he got sentenced to 20 years in prison. There's some gold that you guys saw that picture. Here's another gold one that we were able to recover. We were able to track it back down. Yes, cryptocurrency. We were the second police department in the state of Texas to seize cryptocurrency, and I've seized 6 crypto wallets so far and got all the money back to the victim. Why? It's theirs. That's where it goes. We have a crypto wallet set up just specifically to do that. And then right here, a lottery scam, $200,000. And right there is 77 fake IDs with the same photo, but 77 different people's names on it. And he was, FedEx packages were being shipped to him with cash. So for John, oh, yep, here, there's my John driver's license. Oh, for Bill, yep, here's my Bill driver's license. That's literally exactly what he was doing. I know I really got really close to my time, so I got a little bit of time for any questions if you guys may happen to have any questions. If you're law enforcement and you need help, please, I'm more than happy to help out anybody I can. Someone helped me, and I will return the favor and help out. If you're law enforcement and you need go-bys, which we all know what go-bys are and how to write a certain type of warrant, we were the first agency in Texas to write a biometric cell phone search warrant. So we can use biometrics to get into that phone. And that has been used in several court cases and it's held up every single time. Any questions for me? Yes, sir.
You found any valid reasons for a moderately financially aware person to use a Bitcoin ATM?
No, ma'am. No, sir. Not a damn one at all. Not a single reason at all. If they're using a crypto ATM, they are being scammed, 100%. In Colleyville, we have metal signs that I had made up on Amazon. I paid $8 a piece for them. And at every crypto ATM in our city, except for 2, would not let me put them up. I have a metal sign that says, law enforcement does not accept cryptocurrency. You are being scammed. Call this number. The first week I put it out, within 7 days, I had a victim at the ATM fisting to put money in there. And he saw the sign and he called. And we were able to stop him. Yes, ma'am. I have not had any cases, but I do know of some other agencies outside the state that have had some cases similar, using something similar to that. I have not had any yet. I'm part of several coalitions where we work as law enforcement from across the nation and even across the world, all working and sharing data back and forth to each other. But we are starting, I know a couple of guys have mentioned that. I think they mentioned it like a month or a month and a half ago. I haven't seen any yet, but honestly, whatever the wildest thing that you can possibly think of, multiply it times 10, and that's what the scammer can do. Yes?
First of all, thank you for the work that you do. The success stories that you shared with the prosecutions, what's like the timeline? How long does something like that take to prosecution start?
Obviously, yeah, better question for Nathan, but some of these cases, the way that I learned through working with U.S. prosecutors and Nathan's predecessor, Lori Varnell, and even working with Nathan, is you have so much overwhelming evidence that they don't want to go to trial. Okay, they don't want to go to trial. The Chinese money laundering case where they laundered $26 million, that arrest, my arrest warrant, not my report, my arrest warrant was 26 pages typed. My actual narrative was 255 pages. Okay, so when that defense attorney sits down and reads this, they're like, oh, hell no, we do not want to go to trial against this guy. If he's this articulate, you don't want him on the stand. And so a lot of that depends upon, you know, how well the report is written. If it's a really strong case, it moves faster. Obviously, now with a different administration change, we're seeing a lot of transnational crime where the suspects that we're arresting are here illegally, and we're getting them out of the country. Before, we couldn't deport them. Now, they can serve their time, and then they're on a plane back to where they belong. So sometimes it's quick, sometimes it's not. I mean, I've had DWIs that went 5 years before we went to trial. So I would say probably a year, maybe, Nathan, would you say, before we go to trial? A year and a half, maybe? Depends on the case.
Yeah, I think generally you're going to have about a year's worth of court settings before it ever even makes its way onto a trial docket. And then once you're on a trial docket, it could be
Who knows?
3 more months or it could be 9 more months. It's really tough to say averages because each court is different, but you are rarely ever going to have a case from the date of arrest into a trial in less than, if it's within 2 years,
Yeah.
that's quick.
My last one I had was a group of Cubans, and we were 1 year and 3 days, and they pled out. So, yes, ma'am.
Do you have some overlap with the CIA?
Do what?
Do you work with the CIA?
No. Those guys don't play well with anybody. Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Okay, so from the APS standpoint, we don't
You do, but I'm going to tell you right now, you don't. Because y'all do one of the greatest things for law enforcement. You do an adult protective services notification to us that you believe this victim has been a victim of elder fraud. I get them. They come to my office. My sergeant assigns them to me. Can you look into this? Possible elderly victim's been scammed. So you guys are doing a lot to help us, because if you didn't see that, or the bank did not report it to y'all, because the banks in Texas are required to report it to you, okay? And then you turn around and report it to us. I would say the biggest thing for you, remember, it's not your job to obtain the evidence. That's my job, okay? Your job, you've done your job. You've reported it to me. I start working my case up, I build my case up, and then I take it to the prosecutor, and then at that point, it becomes the prosecutor's case, and my job is to gather the facts for him, okay? That's my job. So, yes, obviously, we need certain dollar amounts to hit something. To me, if it's $1,000, I'm in. That's all I need is $1,000. And I'm willing to play.
The threshold for FBI is about 5 million or something.
It depends on which office you're out of. If you're in New York, it's a $10 million loss, and that's per victim. If you are in the Northern District of Texas, they really want something over $1 million. If it's not $1 million loss for one victim, unfortunately, they just don't investigate it. Well, thank y'all so much for allowing me to come and speak to y'all today.
That was great. This is for you. Yeah, all right. That was very good. Thank you, Detective Prater. And now you have to rush over there and grab your lunch in 8 minutes and come back for our award ceremony, or do the best you can. There's box lunches next door in the exhibit hall, and there are little tags telling you what's in the boxes. So pick what you think sounds good.